most annoying question. Came out of that interview and I was like, I'm not getting in. Hey guys, it's Kirsty. Today I thought I would kind of talk about university interviews. I know loads of you right now in 6th year will be applying for university and going through interview stages, so I thought I would kind of share some of my experiences and advice for you guys for interviews. Now obviously with everything in lockdown at the moment, learning being online, interviews probably have changed a wee bit since I applied for uni, but I thought I would kind of talk about my experiences and maybe that you might be able to relate to that. I'm going to be talking about it for applying for teaching university, but again, other stuff in this will apply to just general interviews. So, like I said in my Getting to Know Me video, I am actually at Edinburgh University. I'm studying physical education to become a secondary PE teacher. So my interview experience was a bit different from what some of you guys might have had. We had a practical element of our interviews as well as group and single interviews. The first thing I would always say when you're going for an interview, the minute you step into that room or even into the waiting room with everyone else, you have to make sure you're the happiest, you are the most chatty, that you get to know everyone in that room because they are looking at you. You might not realise it, but they are looking at you and watching every step you make. So don't go into an interview being in waiting room sad or grumpy or kind of talking bad about the job or the interview you're about to do, because they will be watching and they will be listening to you, as well as the people around you will be the people most likely going to be on your course. Having a first good impression is always really important. Another thing I would say is body language. When you're sitting in that interview room and it's maybe one person or if it's with a group, like engage, make sure you're active, make sure you're looking round, talking to the person, making eye contact. If someone's talking, you're listening, you're engaging, you're asking questions. Again, it depends on what kind of interview you're doing, but it's really important because they will be watching you, even if you're not the person answering the question. I would also say one of the big things about a teaching interview is that they ask you questions about the curriculum. They ask you scenario questions that you have to kind of have an answer to. So preparation is really important and knowing a basic level of your stuff is really important. I asked a couple of my friends in the year below me who have just kind of gone through their interview process what kind of questions they were asked, because I can't really remember the questions I was asked when I went, and they were asked things like what is the problems with education, how the capacities of the curriculum have affected you. So having a basic knowledge of the curriculum, capacities of anything is really important. If you have a teacher in mind that you know you want to talk to and ask questions, make sure you ask them. So again, that's really specific to teaching. So just make sure you have basic knowledge of things that they might ask. If you know someone in the course in the year above you, do not feel like you are being annoying by asking them what kind of questions they got asked or for help, because they are going to be willing to help you because they know exactly what you're going through. Making sure you know the course that you're applying for, because it's really easy any interviewer to ask you a question about the course, and that's when you look really silly as if you don't know anything about the course that you're applying for. I know in my interview they asked me what I was most looking forward to about the course, like what element, and I think I spoke about the practical element and the placement element of my course. I know some other people talk about the kind of sports science aspect of the course, so make sure you do generally know the course you're going into, know the elements of it, as well as that basic knowledge of the curriculum and things about teaching. Now, don't worry about tripping up on questions and stuff like that. The interviewer isn't wanting you to be perfect. The whole point you're going to uni is to learn. So there's nothing wrong with messing up on a question. I remember at one of my interviews, I couldn't answer a question. I just didn't understand it. I didn't have an answer to their question, and I just said, like, I'm really sorry, I don't actually know anything about that, but I'm really excited to learn about it through this course. So making sure that you're enthusiastic, there's nothing wrong. They're not there to trip you up. The people that are interviewing you don't want you to do bad. They want you to do well. So don't worry about maybe messing up a question or repeating yourself too much. The element that I actually think I struggled with the most is the group interviews, because you have to make sure that you speak, but you don't speak too much, that you engage with people around you. I think I was in a group of 5 people for my interview, and they asked us, I think it was 4 questions they asked us, so it really wasn't a long interview process. If I'm being honest, there was a girl in my interview group that kind of went on and didn't really let any of us really speak, and she didn't get into the course. So you have to make sure you're able to talk and engage others, and at the same time still boost yourself and show that you're better than everyone without kind of dragging on and talking too much. Also, again, don't be afraid to be the leader person. I know in my interview group, I was the kind of first person to start talking and start the conversation off, which is also a good sign. So if you know your stuff, you want to start the conversation off, don't be scared to, because it will help others around you as well. One of the things you have to remember when you're in a group is obviously it depends on the task. My Edinburgh interview was very in a group, just kind of discuss different elements of education, whether my interview for Stirling for the same course was very make a presentation as your group using the knowledge you already know. So it's good to hear other people's ideas and note them down and make sure you're working together as a group. They are going to be listening to everything you've said, even if you don't contribute that much in the presentation. Knowing that hearing your voice when you're discussing and you're talking as a group is just as important. The things that we had to do for our practical element of our interview was dance, gymnastics, and then it was a coaching. The dance element, they sent us a link to a dance. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's like a 20-year-old dance that was made for interviews, but they basically sent us a link and we had to learn that dance. It is not actually about the dance element. Well, I don't think it's about the dance element so much. It's more just showing that you're willing to try it, get it, put a smile on your face when doing it. It can be really intimidating when you go and you're having to do this dance and you're not a dancer. I certainly was not a dancer. I have 2 left feet. Like I said, it's not really about your ability to dance. Like, they obviously want you to have a basic ability to do it because you're going to have to teach it as a teacher, but it's kind of just, it was just more about like showing that you can have fun and you're willing to try things. When it came to my part of the dance, I was front and centre, which was honestly terrifying. I was right in front of the people that were watching us, one of them being Wilma, who was the head of our course for first year. I was absolutely terrified, and I went up and I did the dance. I was so happy with it, and it came to the last like 2 seconds of the dance, literally just before the ending pose, and I messed up. I went on the complete wrong foot, the complete wrong direction, and I was so embarrassed, and I just kind of started laughing at myself and tried to pick it up and keep going. And honestly, I came out of that interview and I was like, I'm not getting in. Like, I messed up that dance, that's the whole point. Like, I was so annoyed with myself for messing up, even though I knew I could do it. Like, so I was 100% sure that I had not got in because I'd messed that dance. But actually, after I realised that it wasn't really the steps that was the important thing. It was that I messed it up, but I still kept going. So the other element was gymnastics, and that was very skill level. But for both of these, you had to prepare it beforehand. And one thing I would definitely say is, if you are given something to prepare beforehand, make sure you prepare beforehand. Because if you don't, you're going to look like an idiot when all these people are doing like their dances and know the dance and have their routine, and you're just making up on the spot. Like, it's honestly, if they give you something to do, do it. Like, and practice the hell out of it. Because I remember like every day I was in the gym hall, in the PE department, practicing my gymnastics, practicing my dance, and I am the worst. Like, I cannot do gymnastics and dance, but I was in there, and because I wanted to get into this. And that's what they want. They will be able to tell if you have put the work in or if you have not. But also, make sure you shine. Like, I mean, if that is your sport, do it. Like, do it to your best ability. Like, if you're a dancer, perform the hell out of the dance. If you're gymnastics, do those front flips. Like, honestly, go for it, because that is your moment to shine. If you get the opportunity to shine, that is your moment. When it came to the coaching element of my interview, I know that was the biggest thing for me, because I have done so much coaching in the past, and I knew that is one of the reasons why I wanted to go into PE teaching. The coaching element was literally, we were given basketball and badminton in pairs, and we had to teach each other a basic skill. So they had like wee cards to prompt us. And the whole element of that is to make sure you can actually teach. Like, make sure you're encouraging, you're getting them to ask questions, you're leading, you're showing them with demonstrations, and also that you can do the moves yourself. It's really important. And again, I use that aspect to kind of show off, because I knew the skills. I knew what badminton skills were, I knew what basketball skills were, and I knew how to coach. So made sure they could hear me. I used a loud voice. I was direct with my language. One of the things for an interview I would definitely say is make sure you also ask questions. If they ask you at the end of an interview, do you have any questions? Like, yes, make sure you answer. Have a question under your belt that you can ask. And please, whatever you do not make it the question like, when will we find out? Like, because honestly, I think any person will go, nah, I don't want that person. Like, because it's the most annoying question. Make sure it's something interesting. Every interview is an experience. I know my school did a programme where they did interviews with teachers to kind of get you used to it if you hadn't had much experience. I know my PE teachers helped me a lot. They did practice interviews, they did practice practical elements of it, they did group interviews just to help me so I wasn't as nervous when it came down to it. But at the end of the day, when you go in for your interview, you're going to be nervous, you're going to make mistakes, but don't worry about that. Like, everyone makes mistakes, and again, the interviewer isn't trying to trip you up. It's all really about just kind of being able to link it back to why you want to be in that course and what makes you good for that course. Okay guys, that is the video done. I hope that's been interesting and useful for some of you guys that are maybe going through interviews at the moment. I know it was very specific to PE teaching or teaching, but I hope you can take elements of it for any interview. I hope it has been helpful. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy my videos, also subscribe. It would be much appreciated. You know how much I enjoy making these videos, and I hope you guys enjoy watching them as well. If you'd like to see any more kind of student videos or talking about interviews, or if you're interested in my specific course, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd be really interested to hear your guys' experiences with interviews, or I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have if you're curious about interviews. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please give a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!